Hello and welcome to Hockey Talk. My name is Jaret Schneider along with Jordan Peca. Another week in the NHL down. Some great games this week.
There were some really good ones, actually. Some surprising ones, I think, too. Some teams you thought would win that maybe kind of stumbled a little bit. Teams you thought would have a little trouble actually coming out with wins. It was a really good week.
Yeah, and we had some big headlines this week. You know, there was some of the normal news coming out of the NHL that we expected. Some teams jumping up, some teams jumping down, things like that we'll get into. But first of all, maybe we'll start with some of the injuries. We've got a pretty big one right now. Not only a huge scare for the Lightning, who are in first place, but also a threat to Team Canada coming up in about 3 months' time. So I know that's a big one. And that's Steven Stamkos. It happened on Monday afternoon, I guess, during Remembrance Day, and it was pretty gruesome at the time. Well, you didn't see it that bad until you saw the nice overhead view of him slashing his leg right into the post, and I think it was his fibia or something in there. So, I mean, he's out for 3 months. You know, how do you think that's going to affect maybe the Lightning and Team Canada moving forward?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely a big blow to the Lightning. I mean, he's one of the best scorers that they have, and I think it's going to be a little bit difficult for them moving forward. I think they definitely do have the tools to keep being a solid team without him, but I think it's going to be really tough. And looking ahead to Team Canada, I know it's still a few months away, but depending how his physio goes, how well he recovers, he could be back. But if he can't make it, and it's very likely he won't be able to, that's a big blow to the team, because I know that for a few years they've been counting on him to be there and be one of their top guys. So I think it's going to be tough, but I think, especially for Tampa, they have the tools to move forward and still be a good team. I don't know if they'll be quite as competitive, have quite the scoring touch, but they got a lot of good players on that team.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll still be a first-place team when he comes back, but they could still be in the mix. I mean, that division, you never know in that division. It is a tough division. They've started off so well. They're in first place, and they won actually like the next night without him. So, I mean, but for Stamkos, you know, it was a quick turnaround. It was surgery the next day. There's still no timetable for his return, but there was some of the guys on the TSN panel who were saying, you know, it could only be 3 months. You know, it could be quick back. You know, it could heal himself up in 2 months, a month then of some physical activity to get back up to game speed, and he very well could be there for the Olympics. And if he's healthy, they'll have him on the Olympic team. Like, he's him and Crosby might be the only two guys that are guaranteed spots no matter what, no matter how they play. You know, these injuries and that kind of thing. Like, the other thing with Team Canada is they don't have to announce their roster until like the night before they leave for Russia or whatever, and that's an expanded roster. So even then, if it's questionable that he might play on the team, they'll add him in, and then see if he can't play, then that's fine. They've got a bunch of extra guys. But so there's still some time for that. You know, it's not like they have to have it done, you know, right away. We have some time to see before they set their final rosters and things like that. We've got some other injuries throughout. We've got, for example, the Leafs are depleted down the center. I know they're missing Bozak, a couple other guys. They've got guys like JVR who are trying to play down the middle. Kadri's now suspended, which we'll get into as well, which is a mess. So, I mean, they look a little bit depleted. I know at the beginning of the year they were looking for centermen in somewhat of a trade. What do you think about the Leafs and some things like that and some of the situations that they're in right now?
Well, the Leafs are having injury trouble, which is unfortunate because, you know, for the first time in a few years, they've come out solid as a really contending team. They've been really good this year. And JVR moving into center, I think he can do it. I think he understands the position, but he's not a natural center. It's been a long time since he's been there. I think he played a little bit in college, but not yet in his pro career. So it's going to be a bit of an adjustment for him going forward, but I think he'll pick it up quickly and he'll help the team. The Kadri thing, on the other hand, now that's a big blow to the team. I mean, he's suspended for running the goaltender, and again, kind of his hit to the head later on in the game to one of the other players, and there was no need for that. I mean, watching the replay, he made no effort to stop when he ran the goal. It was pretty obvious. And then the check to the head that they called, people are saying he may have made body contact first. The guy had his head down. The player's head was down.
Yeah, he was finishing his check.
But at the same time, when Kadri went to finish his check, he didn't make any effort to avoid hitting the guy in the head. He went straight in, elbows up, and caught the guy's head. And that is suspendable, and he did get a suspension. And I think because of that, the Leafs are now really hurting at center. And I think it might cost them the next couple games.
Yeah, the whole night was kind of weird. I watched the game last night, and like you mentioned, it started off with him running over Backstrom, and Backstrom, you know, getting a concussion. He's now out injured, another injury. So, and he didn't get a penalty or anything. He got a penalty. He got a goaltender interference, but he never got kicked out of the game or anything. And then he goes and gets, I believe it was Granlund in the head, gets 5 in a game, gets kicked out, and now he's got a 3-game suspension. So I think the second hit, I don't know if the second hit was maybe 3-game suspendable. I think it might have been the two actually added together to result in a 3-game suspension.
Most likely.
Because I thought the goalie hit was dirtier than the other hit for sure. Like he made no attempt to move. He threw an elbow into Backstrom. He's a goaltender. So I thought he was in the crease. So I thought that one was actually dirtier than when he hit Granlund along the board. So I think it's like skating around, chipping at a guy for a while, and then eventually, hey, that's all worth 2 minutes in the box kind of thing. You know, eventually the two together, he was playing reckless all night. So they just said, hey, you know what? here's 3 games,
Calm
go
down,
go sit in
come
the
back,
stands
yeah.
for a while, kind of thing. So, but yeah, we'll see. It's they're pretty depleted there. We've got not Nashville. We've got the New York Rangers, who are starting to turn things around. They're getting a few wins, and now they've got Rick Nash skating again, who had been injured since that San Jose game back in early October. So I think the Rangers, if they get Nash back, he hasn't been a huge player there the past 2 years, but they can start to turn it around a bit too and start to climb the standings.
I think so, definitely. I mean, when Nash first came to New York, I don't think he quite lived up to the potential that people expected when he moved over from Columbus. But not having him in the lineup, I think, has definitely affected them. And I think even just him being back in the lineup will be able to lift the team a little bit. And I think he knows as well that he hasn't had the greatest start. He hasn't really endeared himself to the fans. And I think coming back from injury, he's really going to want to prove that he belongs here and he can play in the big city.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what types of things happen here with the Rangers. When he was traded over from Columbus, obviously there's way more media on him now. He dominated in Columbus. He was the only guy there. Maybe not a huge disappointment, but it's sort of a disappointing season last year for him. The Rangers didn't really do a whole lot. They didn't do anything in the playoffs. So we'll see if they can have a bounce-back year now. It is still early. They're still in a position, especially in that division, where they can make it in the 3 spot with probably it's going to look like a 500 record if they really want. So, they could get in very easily if they really want to, if they can start to get some wins here down the stretch. Also, those guys in that team are going to want to make Team Canada. So, they're going to really start to pick it up, I think. Once Nash comes back, you'll see a huge up in his game. You'll see, like, Richards and some of the other guys, some of the defensemen there, too. Lundqvist should bounce back on an Olympic year. So, we'll see what happens in New York. Should be interesting in the next little while, that's for sure. If we kind of stick over in that division, we've got the Philadelphia Flyers, who actually, surprisingly, are starting to turn it around a little bit. Claude Giroux scored a goal.
Finally, get the monkey off his back.
And it's honestly too bad that it came this late, because I think he's kind of out of the running for Team Canada right now. Even with the injury to Steven Stamkos, you've got other guys like Matt Duchene who might step up and take that spot now, because unfortunately he didn't get his first goal until like 20 games in.
Yeah, it was a big monkey on his back, and he finally scored. It's finally gone, and people were saying that not coming back with that scoring touch could hurt his chances for Team Canada. I think he still has a chance to make the team. I think he's an older guy that has experience. He's a veteran leader. I think he can help Team Canada. I think they would be wrong to keep him off the team. He might not be a star forward, a star player on Team Canada, but I think he definitely deserves to be there right now, regardless of the fact that he might not bring a huge scoring touch. He brings a presence, and he can calm the younger guys down.
Yeah, I think the only problem is that Canada's so deep at centerman. Hey, I think we all know that they're so deep. They've got guys like Eric Stahl, who's going to play on the wing. They've got guys like Matt Duchene, who's going to end up playing on the wing, and there's actually talk that he could end up playing with Crosby on the first line. Just because of the way he's been playing so far this year. They're so deep at center, even with Stamkos out. There's so many other guys that you can throw in there at center, like all the way throughout the league. There's Canadian centermen all over the place that can hop up into a role there. So that's the only downside to him. Obviously, he's good enough to make any of the other Olympic teams, I think, for sure. Canada's obviously the deepest team, especially at center. So we'll see how that goes. But also, Team Canada, we're getting ready to go here. The Olympics are coming up in about 3 months' time, so it's a pretty exciting time.
Yeah, definitely. It's kind of interesting for the players going in, knowing the Olympics are coming up. Everybody wants to make the team. Everybody's trying really hard, and I think that could, partially be what's leading up to some of these good matchups we're seeing between some teams that we think might not be so good and they come out and play hard, or teams that, maybe have been doing good and they kind of slack off a little bit. I think part of it could be the guys wanting to show off, and they say, someone's here from Team Canada that's scouting. I'm going to play hard. I'm going to play hard tonight, and I'm going to show that I belong there. And you can really see it in some of the players have really stepped up their game this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think in Anaheim might just be a key example of that. You got Ryan Getzlaf, another centerman, playing a great year. There's a ton of guys in Anaheim, not only making Team Canada, but you got like Corey Perry, and you got some other guys in that team trying to make some other teams and things like that. And Jonas Hiller, who's going to try and he should obviously play for Switzerland, I believe, in the Olympics. So there's a bunch of guys there that they've elevated their game, and you can see in the way the Anaheim Ducks, they're a great team all around, but they've really elevated their game. I think they're winning that division right now. They're leading that division just based on getting there to the Olympics alone, I feel. And there's a ton of great things. Marty St. Louis having another great year. He should play on the wing for Team Canada. So, there's some good things, some bad things. It's going to be fun to look forward to. We got Stamkos, obviously, to watch over the next couple of months and how he rehabs and see if he can still get into the mix or not. You never know. Another thing we wanted to get into was coaching. Some big firings across the league in Tampa,
some strange ones.
In Buffalo and Florida.
Florida, I'm not surprised. They brought in some guys, Tim Thomas and Barkov, and people were expecting some bigger things out of them, but I've never seen a team go and fire an entire coaching staff and then call up the guys from the AHL. I don't really know how good of a plan that is. I don't know what they're going to do going forward, but it'll be interesting to see if the guys from the AHL can do anything with this team.
Yeah,
this year.
it was everything. It was head coach, assistant coaches. It was the whole staff. It was you're getting the boot, and we're going to bring in a whole new staff, and so it changes things in the locker room. Definitely, the players have to adjust and find new styles and just crazy things like that. Buffalo almost kind of did the same thing. They fired their head coach as well. They fired a couple other guys, and they've got Ted Nolan. I think he's an exciting coach. I like him as a coach. He's been hired as the interim head coach there in Buffalo. He should do good things. He was with the Islanders before, and I think he's won a few cups in his days.
And he was with the Sabres before that as well.
Sabres
he's been there. He's been there in Buffalo before. People know him. People like him.
Yeah, that was the big thing. Was the crowd wanted him. Like the whole fan base there wanted him, and you shouldn't maybe always play to what the fans want, but it doesn't hurt to play to the fans want. And that's what they need to do in Buffalo, being a last place team. If there's anyone you want to please, you can't please them on the ice. You might as well please them in the office.
At least give them a reason to come see the games, right?
Absolutely. So that's pretty exciting as well. Maybe we'll hop into picks already.
All right.
Last week, better for you, kind of for me. You're 4-3. I was 3-4.
Yeah, kind of middle of the pack.
500s together again, still kind of there. You're 21-21 on the year now. I'm not so much. 17-25.
Do we really trust what you say anymore?
I'm a bit. No, I wouldn't. I'm a bit further back, but we'll see. We'll turn it around this week.
All right, let's go.
That's the
7-0,
motto every week.
7-0.
7-0 every week. So, first game tonight. Pretty good matchup, Colorado and St. Louis.
Holy smokes, that's a
Wouldn't have said that 4 years ago.
Yeah, honestly, neither of those teams were anywhere four years ago. They're in St. Louis, right?
They're in St. Louis.
I will take St. Louis.
They're going to take St. Louis. I like the way you think.
You're an Avs fan.
I know, unfortunately. But we'll see. It's going to be it's going to be a good game. It's
absolutely.
going to be an awesome game to watch. Both teams are coming off losses. It should be interesting. St. Louis is kind of chasing Colorado at this point, early on in the year. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to take St. Louis.
Oh, going against his own team.
I'm not going to look forward to it if Colorado wins. Hey, it's a win-win either way. I win in picks, I win on the ice. So it should be good. Tomorrow we got Washington in Detroit.
Washington in Detroit, another big matchup. Well, Ovechkin's been on a hot streak so far. I will take Washington.
I'm going to take Washington. Yeah, they're doing some good things in Washington. They've been here and there. I'm going to take Detroit just because I like what Detroit's been doing. They've been winning all over the place. They get help from guys like Alfie and all over.
The team of old Europeans never fails.
Yeah, they've been doing some good things so far this year, and maybe not so much a surprise, but good start so far to the season.
Absolutely.
So I'll take Detroit. Saturday we have Tampa Bay in Phoenix.
Another game that a couple years ago really wouldn't have meant very much.
Not a chance.
So Tampa Bay without Stamkos going into Phoenix, who have been surprisingly really, really hot. I'll take Phoenix in the desert.
I'm going to take Phoenix. You know what? I like that pick as well. I'm going to take Phoenix. But, maybe to rebuttal on Tampa's side, they won the next night without Stamkos.
They did.
They're still a good team.
They're a strong team. They're not a one-man
Bishop's played
team.
phenomenal in net, the best year of his career. So, Tampa's been doing some good things. But Phoenix, I don't know. They just kind of came out of nowhere. They gotten some good goaltending. Mike Smith, the Team Canada candidate for sure, has got to be in there running.
Absolutely.
Could be the starter too. So I like what Phoenix is doing, so I'm going to take Phoenix. Sunday we have the Sharks in Chicago.
Oh, wow, there's another good one. Holy smokes. Sharks in Chicago. The Blackhawks have been strong for a few years. I think they'll take it in their arena.
I'll take Chicago.
I will take Chicago.
I'll take San Jose just for argument's sake.
Sharks, another phenomenal team, absolutely.
Oh, I know. Like they've been so good this year. You got Logan Couture who's having another phenomenal season.
Former Ottawa 67.
Depth from everywhere. They're getting Thornton and Pavelski. Everyone's been good on that team so far this year.
And they're getting goaltending this year. I was just going to say, exactly something they've been missing for the last couple of years.
They're going into Chicago, so it's a bit of a hostile building. We saw some crazy things in the stands there so far this year. So it'll be an interesting game. Monday, then we have the Calgary Flames. Are going to make the trip over to Winnipeg to take on the Jets.
Oh, Winnipeg. Been a bit sketchy this year. They've been kind of up and down, but I think they can take this one. I'll take Winnipeg.
Take Winnipeg. You know what? I'm going to agree with you on this one. I took Winnipeg last week, and they got me a win. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to stay faithful to the hometown Jets. I hope they can get the win for sure. I like the Jets. They're doing some.
They're a good team.
They've won 3 straight. They're a hot spot right now. This isn't until Monday, but they're hot right now.
Oh, definitely.
They're one of the top teams in the league right now over the past week. So I'll take the Jets. Moving forward to the next night, then. We have Ottawa and Philly, in Philly.
Philly winners of their last 3 or 4. They've been really hot all of a sudden coming out of the basement. Ottawa's been really, really streaky. They lost 5-0 the other night, so really not a great game, but I think they'll bounce back from that. I'll take Ottawa.
We'll take Ottawa. You know what? I'm going to take Philly. They've kind of turned things around to say
They
the
have,
least. You know,
absolutely.
a few weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, they were the worst team in the league. They had the least amount of points. They're behind the Oilers, even if you can believe that. All of a sudden now, I think they're one game below 500.
Yep.
They're in like 5th of the 7 teams. They've started to make their climb a little bit. If they keep thinking, they beat Pittsburgh last night 2-1. So I like Philly. I'm going to take Philly in this one just because I think they're rolling pretty well right now, and I like what they're doing over there. Wednesday, the last night of the week, the 7th game of the week, we have Pittsburgh and Washington. We've got I know you love it, the Crosby-Ovechkin.
Crosby-Ovechkin. Well, I have a feeling we won't see hat tricks from both guys again. But Pittsburgh, just phenomenal this year. They're playing in Pittsburgh or in Washington?
It's in Washington.
Oh, man, that's going to be really tough. I will take Pittsburgh, though. I think Pittsburgh can do it. They're a super strong team. They have offense, defense, and goaltending right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. A bit of a disappointing loss last night to Philly, obviously 2-1. They had their chances all over the place. Crosby scored the lone goal, but they've been getting help from everywhere. They ran into a tough goalie last night. Some good defensive hockey from the Flyers. Their chances were all over there. I like Pittsburgh. It's not till next week, but to bounce back here, maybe win a couple of games off a tough loss and keep their spot at first in that division for now. Anyway, that wraps up picks for the week. Hopefully to do a little bit better than last week for me, for sure. You know, right? One game above. So I got a little bit of chasing to do. I'll get a couple this week, a couple next week, hopefully, and then I'll be allowed to do the show from then on out. So
Best of luck. We won't fire you.
Anyway, I guess that pretty much wraps up picks. Any closing words or anything?
No, just hope Stamkos recovers quickly, and we'll see how he comes back. Something to watch for sure.
Yeah, and for Jordan Peca, Jaret Schneider, you're watching Hockey Talk on Shaw TV, and thanks for watching.